Half your face.
My whole face. Okay.
Ron.
All right. Here we are with the Bud Fixer podcast. We got our amazing first guest, Jennifer Wilson. This is going to be a lot of fun, man. Jennifer, she had a really cool story and quite the business brain. So it's really good to bring you on. I appreciate you coming on because, like, just today, I'm sitting in my truck in the middle of Emerald Isle, North Carolina. Jennifer's in Oregon. John's in Portugal. And so here we are internationally, bringing the minds together to bring you guys some good business advice.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, like life advice. Like
life advice.
How do you get over the doubt of like you want to do something and it seems like the world is full of people that tell you no, you can't. No one wants to take a risk.
God, and, I love no. I love no please, risk, no dear reward. God. I love when people tell me no. I'm like, boy, that burns me. I'm pretty laid back dude. I don't get really excited about much. Well, you tell me no. Yeah. I'll show you something. If you
tell me I can't, I'm that way. You can't do it. Like Marty McFly. So, hey, Jennifer, I haven't met you. I thought your name seemed familiar, but, Jennifer Wilson is my sister's name, Jennifer. I know a million Jennifers that are all born between 68 and 70 something. So I think it was a super common name.
Jennifer was for 8 years, the most common name for 8 years. Yeah. So
So
so I know a lot of Jennifers.
You guys take it. I'm listening. So.
Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about because I'll let you tell your story, and then there's a lot of places we both come together in those stories. So, but go ahead and tell us. Yeah.
Do you want like the life, or do you want like the business?
Yes,
or do you want
all of the above.
Let's talk business.
How'd you get to the business? I know I know it right now. You have a chain of CBD shops. Is that right?
Yeah. So I currently am the CEO, founder of Nature's Relief Hemp Store, located in the Raleigh area, in the Triad area. We have 5 current locations. We have over 26 amazing staff members. That pretty much do everything that we need them to do, and they're amazing. I could never ask for a better staff than I have right now. I came from Top Notch Pet Spa. I opened and founded that. It was one of the #1 grooming facilities in the Raleigh area. And we transitioned from services to retail, but we still keep the services part available. So I come from a background of retail. I mean, I could just start from the beginning if you want to hear.
Yes, of course.
Do you have both?
Absolutely.
Do you have both companies now, or you just have the one?
I have 5 companies right now.
Wow.
So 5 named, registered companies currently, and they all kind of link together. But my favorite part is that I landed in Dogs and Dope. So, and I get to play with dogs, and I get to help people with medication that's not considered, like bad for you. So I got the best of both worlds. I did not come from a great world. My parents were hippies. They for our first 5 years, my first 5 years, I rode around in the back of a semi truck, anywhere from, New York to Florida, all the way out to California. I was actually in Washington when Mount St. Helens exploded, but I do not remember it, but I love the stories. So erupted. I did a lot of traveling back and forth, family, like parents here, then to here, because, you got to start going to school. My parents weren't, I love my parents. They were not the most responsible people in the world. They were more worried about listening to Tom Petty and Bob Dylan and all that kind of stuff. So myself and my siblings all raised each other. So yeah, kind of strange thing. Went through, life.
I understand that.
There's so many things in life that we could be here for 10 years talking about it.
Right.
I just turned 47 and I can't be more happy to be 47. People are always like, I hate getting old. And I'm like, what? You have accomplished 47 years of amazingness and you're alive and not in jail.
Right.
So yeah, our Gen X people, we take it like survival is winning.
Yeah.
Anyways, I started working when I was about 10 years old, started driving when I was 10. And I decided that because my parents couldn't pay the bills that I would. So I started working at 10 years old. My brother and I started a company where we went around and mowed lawns, the normal stuff.
Sure.
We went from there to selling candy at school, and they stopped us from doing that. I don't know why. But, like, I got in really big trouble for selling lollipops at school.
Ooh, living on the edge there.
I had a whole locker. I had candy bars, drinks, lollipops. I knew that if I bought the bag for $1, I could sell each one for $0.25 and make $10. So
This is already a great story.
yeah. So I started like doing side hustles here and there, all while not really caring about my education. I mean, I was smart enough to know that they weren't really teaching me anything I needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned the most I've ever have in the last 10 years. I've never learned as much as I've ever learned in the last 10 years. So you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
So, and all the things that I've learned are becoming very, I see them in form, and it's like, wow, this really works. That idea really worked. This idea was a really bad idea, but we learned from that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that part of your. I really like that part of your childhood. It's very, very, very similar myself. In the, you really had to. There's a little bit of tragedy in like having to take on so much responsibility that young, but it pays off in so much dividends. I mean, it's like it wasn't that dramatic, but it did have. But there's like some sunshine and rainbows at the end of it when you're this age and you're going, man, if that didn't happen, would I have that drive, and that's a testament to it, that you took something like that and turned it into an awesome thing, instead of a pity party.
I mean, I was the same way. My folks were restaurant workers. My dad was a waiter in a restaurant. My mom was a cocktail waitress, and they were married to two different people, but somehow had me and my sister. My mom already had two girls, and we had an older sister, or I still have an older sister, who was pretty much left in charge of the rest of us when we were kids. And I ended up eventually with my old, born in 1903 grandmother, from my 1903 born in Holland grandmother for a few years, and that was when I started. I started my first business when I was 11 with my buddy washing cars, and his mom would we had a little tiny 2-line ad in the newspaper, and we used his phone because his mom was home all the time, and his mom took appointments and did all the booking for us, and we went out on our bicycles all summer and washed cars. It was backbreaking labor. Nowadays, and you know what, that my friend's little brother, when we got older and learned how to drive and started delivering pizzas and everything, my friend's little brother took that business over and he turned it into a detailing business, and he ended up running it till he's about 30 years old.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, you're fine. So I worked in, small retail here and there, growing up, worked at a small grocery store. And I started working in a place called Bayside Grocery, which literally was like a 20 by 20 building sitting in the middle of Flower Bluff, Corpus Christi, at the time of like the height of drugs and all that kind of stuff. We're talking 25 years ago. And I worked for Archie and Hiroko Domash, and I'll never forget them. And Archie was a veteran, and he actually met Hiroko in Korea, and they got married. And that woman was incredible. She instilled respect and discipline in people in a kind way, but with a heavy, not with a hard hand, but with like, you're going to do this, a heavy press. That's what I want to call it. A heavy press. Right. You're going to do this, and you're going to do it because it's going to be better for you. And even though you don't like doing it, it's going to be better for you in the long run. And that's really stuck with me, is that you got to really look at, this is hard or expensive, or it's going to take forever, or I have to get past all these obstacles. And she removed all obstacles out of my way. I mean, just by doing that. So you say, Shane, I don't accept no.
Right.
I don't like that word. That triggers me to get better and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking for all those no's because I want to change their minds. So they go, hey, I actually can do this. Yes, I can do this. And, so that's the whole idea that Hiroko really instilled in me. And they're still in Corpus Christi, and I'm actually going down to see them. I'm going to see them again for the first time in 25 years. And they have no idea.
Nice.
Yeah. They have no idea where I've gone. They just know that I own a business. That's all they know.
That's pretty cool.
So, anyways, I went through regular retail, worked at the big box places, jumped around for money because that's the only way you can make money in retail. You have to quit. You know, you're looking at a year, 8 months to a year and a half, and then you have to go. I either need to double my salary or I'm leaving somewhere else where a company will give me double my salary.
Mhm.
And we're talking like back then it was like $28,000 a year. You know, that was like
Big money.
that was good money. Yeah, I was like really excited to land a position at that amount of money. Started working for like Lowe's Foods and PetSmart. Petco was my final corporate position. I was a store lead and helped place several real estate items that they had, specifically Clayton, Holly Springs. They're big stores.
Mhm.
You know, I helped them. I was like, no, you got to go here. No, we're going to go. No, you have to go here. So
Right.
location does matter.
What year was that you were at Petco?
I left Petco. I left a $16,000 bonus in 2012.
Okay.
Oof.
And when did, how long
2014.
were you?
Sorry, 2014.
All right. Yeah, I've got a buddy. I mean, it's the guy that started the company that Shane took his first dog trainer certification from, but he set up all the dog training and all the Petcos in the country. And they eventually bought him out and took it in-house, but he had it wasn't called, the school is Animal Behavior College, but I forget what the name of the company what it was called, doing the dog training in Petco, but it was Steve Applebaum's his name. So yeah, interesting.
So I worked
All
for
these
Petco.
go together.
Yeah. Well, actually, so I want to say I've met him at somewhere for some
Probably
reason.
if you go to a pet conference, if you go to Super Pets in Vegas or something, he goes every year. He's at those things all the time. Yeah.
I feel like he was a speaker at PetSmart when they sent the managers for leading stuff. But anyways, I was working for these big retail companies and I had 100% buy-in on these companies. Like I was like, buy the book. There's no gray area. You know, I was like a manager of people. I was not a leader at all. Like I managed things and I managed people. And as I realized that you cannot manage people, they have to manage themselves. But you can lead them and inspire them and encourage them. And you can show that you're dedicated to them and that they're important to you and that you want to see them succeed. And once they believe that, you're cake when it comes with associates. But I eventually started realizing in the early 2010s, that corporate wasn't exactly my cup of tea because they stopped seeing customers as people, pets as pets, people with emotions like the person that I am, and started seeing them as liabilities. And every person that walked through that front door was a liability, and including the staff. And it was like, why are you? Yeah, I never understood that. I was like, why is the corporate world looking at these people that are making them their money as a liability and not an asset? And that really switched me to where I said, you know what? My dad owned his own business for a very short time when we were kids. It was taken from him from his partner. And I had this huge ball of fake fear living inside of me that I did not want to open my own business. It was a giant ball and it was fake fear. And I had to get past it because what do you hear all the time? Every new person, every business fails within the first year. 58%. You hear all these stupid statistics like about how you're going to fail. Why are we not hearing why we're going to succeed? I'm sick of hearing the government tell me why I can't succeed. The SBA is there to help small businesses grow, but they tell you all the statistics that'll keep you from wanting to become a small business owner. And it's like, and that's so ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I believe that there's been this fear there from a lot of people who are up on the top, who have gotten a little bit dirty. You know, money makes you dirty sometimes. So money is dirty. And they've just lost the track. And the track in corporate was always supposed to be building people better, making them, you know, helping them build better. I walked away from I had a 7-day cruise to Thailand that I'd won because we were the number one customer service company in Petco. We were number one for the country, for the area. And I only made $31,000 a week. Like that's all we brought in this small store, but we were functional and our staff was happy and we hit every metric and we had a good training program and our services were top notch. And that is when I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go open Top Notch.
Do it for yourself. Yeah.
So I walked away and my district manager came up and she was just like, you're going to walk away from a $16,000 bonus. I was like, yeah, I am. And I am because you're just trying to keep me here with more dangling carrots.
Right.
And, you know, it's first they start the fear of don't do it, and then they start the fear of you can't make it, and then they start well, okay, how about we just give you a little bit more of what you want and you'll stay here. But money wasn't going to buy my soul, so
Yeah.
it was like, so I opened Top Notch Pet Spa on March the 31st, 2014. That was our first day. We started grooming pets, working with. That's when I met Shane. Was in 2013, and he came to me as this like bushy-eyed guy, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to talk about dog training." And I'm like, "Oh, you got the right person, because I believe in the power of dog training." and it's Top Notch, extremely successful company. In the end, it became a big beast, and I don't know if any of you have ever worked in services. Well, yes, you have, Shane. But it's really difficult to want to help people, and you're constantly helping people, and they're back. Well, it's got to be cheaper. You got to do it faster. I don't want my dog sitting here longer. Why should I have to pay for your services? And it got really tough in the services area during the COVID pandemic. It changed. The first year was, you guys are great. The last 3 years were, you guys are horrible, and how dare you? And so I decided to open Nature's Relief, and we can get into that later.
Hang on before we get too far away. Yeah. So from the transition from Petco to Top Notch, so like, what was it that made you decide you wanted to be a groomer? Like, did you have grooming experience? Had you had an education in grooming? Like, what made you open a grooming salon versus something more along the pet, like a independent pet shop with all kinds of different goods or something? Like, what made you lean towards the grooming salon?
Because it's services related, which means that it relies on the human, the person in front of you, to create the relationship. It's not a commercial going, go get this for your dog. And then you show up at a pet store. There's a gazillion pet stores. They all sell the same stuff. Their pricing is all pretty much the same. They get it all from the same distributors, that kind of stuff. It's all the same, but you have to find something that catches the customer. And PetSmart and Petco are smart on that. They know that services mean a lot. My stores did really well in services, and I found out that I was a pretty good leader when it came to, service people that, because they're very, groomers, they are passionate, educated, and snarky.
Yeah.
So did you do the grooming yourself, or you just managed the staff, brought it in, opened it up, did the location, all that stuff?
So I get asked constantly, what is my talent, and my talent is finding people that do amazing jobs and encouraging them, and that's what I do. So I had I had one person that I had finally come across, Christina. Shane knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She was a fabulous groomer. She had many, many years. She had a lot of jobs because they were very hard to keep. Like, there was a lot of drama all the time. And I saw something in her, and I said, you know what? I think that we can start a business. And she wasn't interested in starting a business. She just wanted to be an associate. And I said, okay, I promised her a salary, and we went straight forward on, and we never looked back. She had buy-in for the company. So every time somebody came in, it was so easy. But that's how I did it. And then we had only 6 days. 6 days, that's it, that we did not have one dog in the store in 6 days. And went from $82,000 the first year to over $1 million in sales the next year.
Damn.
How did you fund in the beginning?
How did I what?
How did you fund? Was it savings from your retail, or was it friends and family, or you mentioned the SBA? How did you do it?
No one ever taught me how to save. So I was not a good saver, and things were expensive. And I went to banks asking for $70,000 to open a business based off of me, because the best advice I give the new business owners is, you're writing a resume for you, not a business plan. You are telling them who you are and why you need that job. And that's basically what it is. I went to every bank. I have 800 credit score. I had a house. I had a 401k. I had all these things that I could put up as collateral. And I was told no.
Yeah.
On banks that I've been with for 20 years. Like, it was Wachovia back then, before it was Wells Fargo. Then Wells Fargo said no. And, I had banks. We didn't have money. So I went into a small business or bank that was owned by a small company, like little tiny companies. So that's why I tell everybody, go find a local bank that has no more than 10 branches, and they will give you a yes. And I walked into KS Bank in Clayton after a recommendation from the Clayton Animal Hospital doctor. I can't think of her name right now. Oh, what was it?
Dr. Bagley you talking about?
Yes. Long time. No,
Yeah.
wait. Yes.
No.
Yeah. I said, yeah. Went down to KS Bank and she's like, go down there, talk to Charles. He'll give you a loan. And I did. I went down there and I talked to him and he said, how much do you need? And I said, 70,000. He goes, can you do it on 40?
Oh, really? Wow.
And I said, yes, I can do it on 40.
Wow. Usually my experience is people do not ask for nearly enough, and then they hit the end and then they tap the well, so
Yeah.
Wow. So you did it on 40. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I made it very focused to find location, because we needed to be in a neighborhood because we want to be neighborhood. I was focused on me doing the build out, me and Christina, finding friends and family. People like that are irreplaceable, coming in and helping paint and like get ready on the last couple of days and show
Swing
up to your
hammers,
grand
yeah.
opening. So you look like you have people there,
Right.
That's, support is a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
it's always we, never I.
Yeah.
Even when I was running
there's no
around like a
I in
maniac
team.
by myself, I'd be like, yeah, we could get you on the schedule. Sure, we can show up.
I'll
Like
be
there's
there.
50 of us. But yeah, it's just me running around like a cuckoo bird.
Yeah.
But life is crazy because you're now being a CEO of the company's pretty big. And I have 26 staff members. We have 12 full-timers. We carry Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. Like we have a 401k through Safe Harbor. We wanted to be able to give everything that everybody else can do. And the reason we were able to do that is because we didn't accept the fear. Oh, it's going to be too expensive. It's going to cost you too much money. It's going to be too hard. It's going to be so, and it was just like, this is what we need to do. So, but I have life on the back end because I have a relationship. I was married and divorced, have 7 kids that are trying to figure out a new, life. And it's really tough to be a CEO and a mom and a wife and, a sister. So
Yeah.
I think you both have the same issues with that. So
I think some people tell
I've never been able to be a good sister.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people say you can't do it. You can't do it to help you, and the others, maybe have an ulterior motive, like maybe a little jealousy, maybe a little whatever, So don't leave. They're thinking of themselves like you're like the people you work for, right? Like, oh yeah. It's very hard. You can't, we want to keep you working for us, of course. So. Yeah.
Well, in the retail corporate world, we were always encouraged to talk them into staying, because it costs more money to replace somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, that's the wrong way. If somebody wants to go, then I want them to go and I want to help them and I want to see where they go. And I want to encourage them when they get there because that's somebody's choice to make. Uh-oh, we lost Shane.
Uh-oh, he's completely out. Well, keep going. Let's see if he can get logged back in. I'll text him while we're at
He'll get back in.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the same here. I mean, I have a lot of trainers working for me or with me, I should say, and some of them, they think, well, we want to do it on our own. We want to, and that's it. It doesn't bother me. In a previous discussion on here with Shane, I said, if you want to do your own thing, if you don't want to work with me, I don't want to force you to stay. And I already know that you're not. I already know that it is. That you have other plans anyway. So here he is. He's back.
Yeah.
Hey, we put you in the middle though. That was where I like this. I like this better. Right when I was
John's
thinking.
now going out.
Oh boy, am I?
Oh yeah. Yep. I was kind of waiting for the resolve on that one.
Yeah. So they, I was thinking, in the future, I'm going to log in the guest and then have Shane come in. And then we have the guest in the middle of the screen. But anyway, yeah. So, I'm the same way. If somebody wants to do their own thing, I'm happy to see them successful. If somebody that worked with me and got their start with me is successful, it only helps me. I mean, I've told Shane that a million times, and I use them as references a lot of times. So,
it's. I'm in the jobs I had previous to this was 2-week notice. You're fired that day. They don't want you around, because you're gonna do 2 weeks of damage. Yeah, because nobody. As soon as you drop that 2-week notice, nobody's in it like they were when they showed up that morning. They're gonna drag you down.
I have a different experience with that though.
So I don't terminate people and then just tell them you have to leave. I give them a 2-week notice.
And because I know that sounds weird, and a lot of people look at me and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And
So you give them the 2 week notice?
I give them the 2 week notice. So
oh wow, okay.
There's nothing worse in the world to lose your job unless you purposely did it. Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Most of the time, what happens when we terminate people is that we see a behavior that we don't really like and we want to change it. And so we communicate about that behavior. We have like one-on-ones, or we sit down and we do action plans, and you hear these words like PIPs, performance improvement plans. And I do all of those things. I document information. We have something at Nature's Relief we use called an action plan. It can be used for good or not. But they're aware of what's happening, and I'm never not honest with people up front. And I tell them, look, this is these are papers to basically get you out if you don't like want to follow through with the behaviors. And I've learned that has never gone well. It's never gone well.
It's like you're giving them a working severance.
Basically.
Right?
But yeah. Well, I think what it is the fact that they've seen it in action, and that then the other associates are like, wow, I really respect this, because then I don't have to just all of a sudden not have a job and be sitting on my butt, freaking
that goes
out.
a long way.
And a lot of people, I've only had 2 people not accept the 2 week notice. Hey, this isn't just working out. I want to help you find some other place if I can, but that's not really my responsibility. Let me give you some suggestions I think you would do well in. Like I've had to terminate people before on the spot for like anything abusive, anything like anything that's just not a negotiable. But I have worked very hard in with people for a long time to help repair problems, because we don't know how to talk. Like we're all different ages, all different this, all different that. We don't know how to talk to each other. Like my son comes up and he's like, "Hey, Bet, what's up, Switch? Oh, I can't believe it's so sus." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Can you translate that, please?
Well, Bet means that it's true. Sus means it's suspicious.
Okay. It's true and suspicious.
I learned
it's
something
suspiciously true.
Sus. That's sus. Yeah. All right. I like
that's sus. So like you hear people like, there's the alpha generation now is using Sigma. And I think that's supposed to mean like you're good.
Wow. All right.
So just to give you an example, I'm 47 and I have people that are 20 working for me. So how can I encourage them? But yeah, I do a 2 week notice. And the best way I can give it is like, I had a staff member that just didn't want to get better at grooming. She wasn't bad at it. She wasn't slow at it. She wasn't hurting any animals. She just felt like she was where she wanted to be. She didn't want to expand her profile. She didn't want to get like better. She thought she was good enough. And we spent a lot of time communicating with that. And she got to the point where she was like, "Look, I just don't want to get any better." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm giving you a 2 week notice. And unfortunately, we can't continue this relationship because this was the agreement." And she stayed for her 2 weeks. She got a job down the road at Wolfgang. We gave her a recommendation and everything was fine. And every time I've offered that 2 week, it has been fine. I've had no problems, nobody taking any money, nobody sneaking into the till, none of that. They're just like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to terminate you where you have no money. You're going to hate me. You're going to drain my company's like reputation. You're going to drain my reputation. Like, and that's not how we want to do it." So, and
how many of those people do you end up keeping? Does it happen that you're like, "Oh,
yeah, I've kept a few, but the majority of them have all left, and some of them have come back. And like, I have people working for me that worked for me years and years ago that have come back, and they said, "I really respected that you gave me that opportunity because it really opened my eyes to what I wanted to do." Like the girl I was just talking about, she's now in Las Vegas and she's out being like an amazing groomer, and she's dyeing all these dogs crazy colors, and she's learning a better craft. So,
I think, you know what? And it just came to me. It's got to be Groom Expo. I'm sure you went to those in Hershey. The Groom Expo.
Yeah.
That's where you met Applebaum. I guarantee you.
Okay.
He has spoken there before. I remember. So yeah. It's an interesting world, man. Let me tell you. Those were
when you were doing So where did, because we had Jennifer was responsible for something that benefited both myself and John. He doesn't know about it yet. The Bass Pro. So
Bass Pro.
Yeah.
So when you were there, like where was that in your career transition? Was that between starting Top Notch? Was that during trying to get Top Notch going? Where did that fall in the timeline?
So here's a little bit about being a business owner. I was making no money at Top Notch our first year at all. For the first 3 years, I made no money because I had to keep reinvesting everything back into the company, every dollar. So I had to pick up a part-time job at Bass Pro Shop. So here I am, an owner and CEO of a company, a founder that's doing really well. But I had to keep hiring staff to keep making it do well. And to be able to offer the stuff. So I was working part-time at Bass Pro Shop when Shane and I knew each other. And they hired me for the customer service area. And I noticed a lot of dogs coming in. I'm like, this is a gold mine. So I was like, I got to call Shane. And I think he called her. Did you ask her? I think you asked.
Yeah, well, that one prompting of an idea of, hey, you should come talk to Patrick was the guy that was there, I'm still friends with. That dude, you talk about entrepreneurial spirit. That dude left the general manager of Bass Pro Shops and started a food truck. And talk about passionate.
No way, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, years ago.
Yep, me and Patrick didn't talk very much. He didn't know who I was.
Yeah, well, when I met with him, so we went to a dog days thing there. And he was there, of course, because he's the manager guy. And we got done. At 4:00 when it ends, you can see every dog trainer wrapping up. Everybody there is wrapping up their stuff at like 3:30, starting to put their things away. I always stay to the end, and he was there by himself. And I was like, "Hey, dude," I said, "Have you ever thought about like how cool it would be if we did group dog training classes right here in front of the aquarium?" He's like, "Can we do that?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, we can do that." And but it was your prompt. I mean, I would have never. That probably would have never been on my radar. But that ended up turning into. So John's got 30 different markets across the country, dog training businesses.
Cool.
And we ended up, I think, at the height of the Bass Pro Shop thing, I think we were in 13 Bass Pros across the country because I took our connections that we made there. And then we went in different markets with his trainers and got classes going there too. So it was pretty wild. We
did drop in, remember? Drop in dog training. Just drop in. Yep.
Yeah. And you couldn't get in and out of Bass Pro Shops. You couldn't use the bathroom at Bass Pro Shops without seeing a Sally Said So advertisement.
So, you actually helped train one of so just to connect all this stuff together. So you actually trained Paige's dog, and his name was Link, and she did the drop-ins, and she worked at Bass Pro as a sales associate. Okay. She now is an owner of her own company and now grooming on her own company out of the top.
No kidding.
So, that's
wild.
Like all that stuff just starts. Like, and she's amazing. She's an amazing groomer.
Where's she at? Shane, you got to pop in on her. Yeah.
Shane will be Legatos, by the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Shane will be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm dreading. Friday or Thursday, Lemmy's getting groomed. So I'm like, woo. I can tell you the value of a groomer that knows what they're doing is absolutely. I mean, the people that I took my dog to previously, he kept coming back looking like a golden doodle, with the little teddy bear cut with the squared off. I was like,
it's like, what are they doing to that dog?
I even took pictures of the standard and I was like, make it look like this, make it look. And he comes back and they're nice people. I got nothing against them, but I was like, I could not. So I just I had to call, I don't know, 6 different groomers in town before I found somebody that ever even heard of a Legato Road McDonald. And so now, of course that comes with the price attached to it, and it's mobile. So, it's a little bougie, but I still love it. And he looks amazing when he comes out of when he's freshly groomed, man. I mean, you can't just have any groomer do any dog, like you can, there's specialties like Christina and what all of her show stuff. And some of those, it's just amazing what the difference when it's done right, and it's 100% worth. I hand her, it was like, just bill me. I don't care. It's yes.
Yeah.
Show up again.
Well, groomers they're artists. Like they're not just, there's no way to groom a dog just one way. Everybody's going to do something different. Even in the show world, they use extensions in dog hair. They use chalk to keep it stiff. Oh yeah. They dye it.
Really?
They do all this stuff. Oh yeah. Those dogs not, no. Yeah. Those dogs are not what you think. Like they sell.
Yeah. You got to go to a grooming show, Shane. It's crazy. The stuff they do.
Yeah. I'm not going to any shows unless they're in this truck by myself. Yeah.
Our
no crowd.
My top candidate here in Portugal she's a veterinarian from Brazil, and she came here and decided she could do better doing mobile grooming, and
she's right.
She's super interested in training. So there's a big expat community here, plus the Portuguese people, plus there's a lot of Brazilians. So she's bilingual, so it should work out. We will see. I mean, she's in the process. It's a process for me to bring somebody on. Yeah.
The minute she says she's a vet, that's over. Like, people
100%.
look at. working with people and their dogs, and you guys know this, they love their dogs more than their family. Like,
oh yeah,
and then the majority of humans, and there's reasons for that. You know, the whole unconditional love part that dogs seem to have completely under control. So we don't, but they do. But like when it comes to grooming, it's almost like you're dropping off your kid to be completely changed. So, and it's good that you found a good groomer, because it's not just about having a good haircut, it's about having a good experience for your pet. And that was our biggest focus, was keeping it safe, making sure that we we use Shane a lot to come in and teach us what to do, because we were like,
etiquette.
These dogs to sit there. Yeah.
That's cool. Etiquette, yeah.
So and then but I get you, Shane. I've literally had people cry over their dogs getting shaved because they're matted, and it's like you sit there and you tell them, and it's like, well, I'd have to rip the hair out of their body, and it'd be really painful, and they'd be super bruised, and we just don't do that, and they would not care. So that there's that other side. So I'd love to hear it when people are like, I got to find a good groomer that does really good job, but also takes good care of my dog. And mobiles are great.
It was wild too, the way that this connected, that we could speak with you today, because both John and I, but our last two episodes were kind of like our own individual origin stories about how we got to where we have and just in life and in business. And we've known me and him have known each other for almost 15 years. And we didn't know that we both started out in a shop bathing dogs, prepping them for groomers. We both did that. That was
I did it
it blew my mind. I was like, how do we not know that after this long of a relationship? You know,
all through high school, I did it. Yeah, that was how I got into it. And then I wasn't a good student either, and it just wasn't for me. And when I had to get out of the house, the only option for me was the Army. And I thought, well, I love dogs. Let me try to become a dog trainer. And that's what happened to me. So. Crazy. How did you? Were you doing retail in the grooming shop? Is that it?
Yeah,
you were doing grooming and retail.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that you guys were. Yeah, well, it said that you guys were bathers. I actually became a bather when I stepped down from PetSmart. So right before Petco, I worked for PetSmart as and I was like, you know what? I don't need this much money. I'm going to go back to being a bather. I went to being a bather, and I loved it. It was so hard. It was so hard. It was so fun to sit there and brush out all those dogs that were shedding. And
it's a test of your reflexes and your dog reading ability. That is for that is
yes,
for sure.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
I didn't start an animal. I was like regular retail. Like I worked for Lowe's Home Improvement, Lowe's Foods, like stuff like that. And I got into pet because I didn't want to do the other stuff anymore. And I begged for my job for PetSmart, and they gave me a $10,000 pay cut, but I begged for that job and I took it because I was like, I just want to work with animals.
Right.
I'm done with people. And so animals are always animals.
But you're doing retail, and you're doing in the gosh, what's the name of the shops?
Top Notch.
Top Notch. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made a huge move with Top Notch 2 years ago, and I decided to shut it down. And even though we were at we were making $1.2 million a year, and people thought I was crazy, but I had to do something about my physical and mental abilities to be able to handle two companies that were growing, because Nature's Relief was going through the roof, and they needed my guidance. And so what I did is I encouraged all of Top Notch associates to become their own owners, and I rebuilt out the store, and they all own their own stores now. They're all independently named, independently everything. So the store is still there and still operating, but all the people there are their own individual owners. So there's 5 booths, and the associates own the booth. They're not associates. The owners own the booths.
Right.
All they do is pay me rent now, and they take care of everything. And it's so
smart.
freeing.
True, smart. Yeah.
It's kind of like it's like a hairdresser model, right? They're renting renting the chair, right? In the shop.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, you can't do that dog grooming. I'm like, yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just trying to convince people. They don't want you to. Owners don't want you to. They get 50% of everything that groomer gets, and then they don't do anything. They're just providing the space in certain places. Now, all these associates literally got a $50,000 price adjustment, and they just pay rent, and it works well for me. So this is another part of me wanting other people to succeed. Like,
because
that's
amazing.
I want them I want them to feel what it is. Like, it's not about having money or it's about having flexibility and being able to feel good about what you're doing.
Yep.
So
that's great. I mean, if people are saying you can't do it and you're doing it, there's an opportunity right there, isn't there?
That's what I tell them.
Replicate it.
Well, I'm doing it. Why can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why they can't. Starting with the fact that they told you that you couldn't. And if they think you can't, that's because they think they can. So
yeah, that's the stigma I'm trying to get rid of. Because when people tell me, well, I don't even know how to file for a business. And I'm like, okay, well, you go on the SOSCS website, you pay $212, you fill out your name, and they give you a paper. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like that you own a business now. So, you know.
Yeah, amazing. How did the relief that is
Nature's
Relief, yeah.
Nature's Relief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did
Nature's
that come
Relief Nature's Relief came about because we were approached by a customer at Top Notch to start carrying CBD for dogs. And at first I was like, are you really in on this? Like, I thought it was going to be like the ashwagandha, all the, the things that we had, the Aki berries and everything that everybody was taking. And I said, fine. And I researched for like weeks, and I landed on a company called Pet Relief out of Oregon. I'm actually in Oregon right now. And I bought a couple of items, and nobody would touch it. No one would buy it. And I was like, they were so worried about it. And I gave a $110 bottle. Like, I had like $8,000 invested in product, and I gave away bottles, and I was giving them away. And I was like, your dog has got this issue and you guys can't figure out what it is. Why don't you try this and tell me if it works? And, that was for a black Airedale. His name just left my head. He had a disorder that the doctors kept saying was allergies, but his feet would swell huge and they would split open and bleed, and he would not want to walk. He started peeing on himself, and you know how that is for a dog and he was highly trained. So like, he couldn't get up to go outside, and he was waiting in the house. So, he's like, I'm doing bad things. And he was in a really bad state, like just completely different down dog. And he started taking the CBD, and it was 2 weeks later, she walked in the store with tears pouring down her eyes. And I thought, oh my God, I killed her dog. And she goes, I came home and I thought someone broke in my house because the dog toys were all over the house. And she's like, I was so shocked. And then my dog came to the door, and then he wanted to go for a walk, and she brings him in, and his feet are completely gone. They were not swollen at all anymore. He was super happy, jumping around, running around, willing to do anything. And I was like, this is not a dog. We'd have to pick him up to put him in the bathtub, pick him up to put him on the table, pick him up to just move him, because he didn't want to move his feet. And the doctors found out later that he actually had a major autoimmune disorder and some other thing going on. And they kept him on the CBD. And he lived 2 more years. He was like 11 years old at that time. In 2 more years, 13 years old is when he passed away. It was really sad to hear him go. But just watching that said, I need to open a CBD store. And because this needs to be taken to people too, not just to animals. We need to try to do this with people too. And I had already been coming back and forth with the marijuana stuff in Oregon, but completely different atmosphere. I want you to understand that. This is more about high. This is more about health.
Right.
Like now they're both doing high and health, thank God. So, I got told no. We were going to open the CBD store in 210 square feet of the Top Notch that I owned. And they were like, no. I said, okay, I'll go find a space. And I found a real estate agent, Don Sampson. He's amazing. And I said, I need a space. And I said, I want to be at Oak Park. And he said, you're not going to be at Oak Park. I said, why don't you give her a call? And he gave her a call. And 2 weeks later, she called and said, I have a spot. We opened the first store June the 1st of 2019. Right before the pandemic, and the rest is just freaking history. Like it's just like we started out doing we literally needed every sale, like 1 or 2 customers. We were just like, please buy $100 worth of stuff. And then the pandemic happened, and they went on WRIL, and they're like, the very first question about when they were shutting the stores down was, what about CBD stores? And he said, CBD stores are considered health and medicine, and those are staying open. I was like, wow. Because I had to shut down the grooming salon. And then we finally got somebody convinced to open the grooming salons back up, because it's medical for dogs. You can't just not groom dogs. Like, you can't leave them 2. Could you imagine Doodles 2 years? Their legs will be falling off from mats cutting off circulation.
No kidding.
Yeah. So we opened Nature's Relief. We just did the same approach. I kept the same approach. educational, supportive, kind of situation with the staff. Same thing with the customers. And we used to have people come in there, they'd be all incognito, like, I'm not supposed to be in here. And now we have everybody from 90-year-old people down to 21, because you can't go past 21.
Right.
Everybody, every walk of life, everything, animals, dogs, people, like horses, like the reach has been immense. So we just opened our 5th location in March.
That's crazy.
2024.
That's
and
fantastic.
It's going
Congratulations.
spectacularly. Thank you.
So what's it like working? Because that's a franchise thing, right? Is it?
No, it's
or how
mine.
does that? Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was like one of these connected all over the place kind of things.
I
or not.
trademarked it. I named it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
me and Brent named it. Yep.
That's why that's why I wanted to ask, so we could dig a little deeper. And so that's even better than what I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, how do you have to? Matter of fact, it's funny. I get asked if we're a franchise all the time, and I'm like, Did you ever see another Sally Said So anywhere? I mean,
well, it's kind of like Dookie Patrol, like the guys that scoop the poop. They franchise, but they get a different name, and they're all under the same company is helping them, like franchising kind of information, but they actually all have their own individual name.
Yeah. I mean, that's our company is the same way. It's all under one company, but they all have different names in different cities and everything. So, interesting.
So what's it like trying to maintain like inventory? Like if you got to run 5 stores and you got inventory and you got personalities, and I mean, like what's the day to day like now at this stage of your career as far as your effort versus reward?
My effort 100% is towards my staff. So they handle it all. We literally had to create everything. Mary is our inventory manager and Kaylee's our inventory assistant. They manage every single product that comes through that store. If it's something for sale or if it's a sample, it doesn't matter. It comes through them. And we house all pretty much and ship it all out 2 times a week. So this is where my experience in corporate comes in, and it makes I can help like get rid of some of the things that people are like, well, how do we overcome this obstacle? This is how we do that. Or how do we overcome that obstacle? So the biggest thing in the industry now is getting viable legal product and making sure that it is what it says it is. And at Nature's Relief, we randomly test product that comes in. We will literally just take it and test it on our own dime. Yeah. We want to know. We want to know if you're lying, and it's not, we don't, if you're lying, that's bad. That's bad. But if you don't know, okay, here, now you know,
right.
But
Shane and I was approached to get in that business. I don't know how long it's been, Shane.
It's been a while.
5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
and,
at least.
You look at, I don't procrastinate a lot. I just go. I'm like, this looks really good. These numbers look good, and I don't really think about the nuts and bolts of like how actually difficult it was when I was getting into it. It was hard to set up banking. And it's only CBD. It's not. It wasn't marijuana. I mean, there's a. Shane and I could probably do a full episode on that. On when we were doing that, because Shane was helping me out on his end, and we were trying to get product in people's hands and everything else. And
it was wild.
It's sometimes you have. I said before, I get really brilliant ideas, and then I act on them, and then sometimes when I'm acting on something, I'm like, wow, this is starting to take my focus away from my core business, which is the thing that pays my bills and the thing that I'm best at. So every now and then, I'm a risk taker, that's for sure. But
I understand where you're coming from. You see these like numbers and everything. I did the same thing when CBD first happened. We could not get a bank account. And I had a bank account with almost every bank in the area. I was like, what do you mean I can't get a bank account? We had to take cash for the first year and a half.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep. We had an account with, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying our supplier was in Oregon. I mean, I knew enough. I'm willing to bet at this point that it's possible that you get some of the same product from the same supplier, and then it white labels or something else, because it's kind of in a way like a giant pyramid scheme to a degree. There's only so many levels that you can,
Were you working with HempWorks?
What's that?
Were you working with HempWorks?
Was it HempWorks? I mean,
they were the original ones. You had a white label product, and they would sell it, and you would get, Anyways, it sounds like their pyramid.
I don't believe it was HempWorks, but I think I've heard of HempWorks. The guy that because I was already third on the totem pole. There was a kid who was tied in with the founders that was an ex-NFL player, and then his father was an ex-state legislature, and he got into the business, and then I was working then I was getting it from the father, and then after that, there's not a lot of meat on the bone, so I'm going to have to, it's going to come to me, and I have your email address. I'm going to tell you who it was.
Yeah, definitely.
When I figure out
the thing is, that happens in all businesses. Like, it's crazy. Like, people don't realize is that you can white label everything, like everything that you want, even drinks. And you have, and there was a company out at the time that did have a huge pyramid scheme. Like, it was like crazy. It was like really bad. And like, by the time you just had to keep adding more people to selling your product. Yeah. So you would get some part of it.
That was HempWorks. Yeah. But
it was HempWorks.
They were similar, but I don't think it was HempWorks. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Yeah, I'll look it up when we're done.
I focused on opening a company that sold legitimate product. So and even though I have a white label item, it's not actually white label, it's a private label, because we changed we changed ingredients and potency and things like that after being open for 5 years and learning a lot about the cannabis industry. You've learned stuff and you're just like, okay, now we need to make sure to take this out. We need to put almond extract in because it does this. And we need to not use fake stuff because nobody wants fake stuff anymore. Yeah. Yeah. There's thousands of companies. I mean, like most of the drinks in the world now, Topo, Fresco, Bubbly, all of those things, they're all co-packaged, all co-packaged in the same company.
Now you can get that. I mean, even when Shane and I were fooling with it, you could get stuff they were calling CBD at the gas station.
That was hemp bombs.
Yeah.
Mystic Labs and hemp bombs. Yeah, they were all in every gas station.
Yeah.
So
I think it's such a vital part too. Just I'm a daily connoisseur myself. I mean, but it's to sleep. I mean, there's nothing better than a good gummy before you go to bed, or just anxiety, stress, just drinks, all of them. I mean, all of it. Just God, I wish people would just get off their butts and make this stuff legal, man. It helps so many people. It's like, even sure, high is fun sometimes, but really it's like, even my mom right now, she's eat it slam up with cancer, and they've given her oxys, they're giving her this, they're giving her that. I gave her a gummy and she feels fine, considering the pain relief and stuff like this. So it's just so, God, it's just, I can't imagine that they'd make it a problem. Come on, y'all.
You know not to get me started, Shane. I will.
I know.
Oh, you want to get me started?
We'll have to cut it. We'll have to cut this episode and re-record it.
I know. It's just a shame.
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
The politics. Yeah. Well, right now, there's a bill that's being passed. It's already passed the Senate. I think it's got to go through the House, whichever way it goes. With North Carolina to bring in medical marijuana and start the conversation. The thing is that the hemp industry is asking for definition of the same. And if you have David and Goliath fighting, you have cannabis fighting hemp because hemp's not getting regulated or taxed, and cannabis is falling apart. Marijuana is falling apart. There's only one state that's doing it well, and that's Arizona. And that's because they didn't open the market up to the beast. They said, we're going to have this many licenses and that's it. That's it. And that's what they did. But what it did is it created where these giant corporations went and bought, 50,000 square feet licenses, and they hold them and rent them out to people for $50,000 a month. That's how they do it. It's crazy.
It's the con of the and when I say con, I mean as pros and cons of the federal system of every state. You have 50 sets of rules you have to deal with out there. Here in Portugal, they have decriminalized everything, but it's not legal. That means you're giving a general 25-year-old cop discretion of ruining your life if you got caught with anything because it's decriminalized, but they can still tag you for it. But CBD is legal, and there's a CBD. I mean, I got one right across the street and one block over from me. The companies from Holland are setting up in here, and they think, of course, that it will legalize here eventually the way it is in Holland. But the amount of product in these places, I popped into a few of those stores just to see what they have. And I mean, they've got everything. It's got all the same names as cannabis, it's got all the same as weed, Purple Haze and all that other stuff.
That's a strain name. So
Yeah.
that's because of the plant. Like, so because all the plants have different ways. Like you have strains that literally make you feel a different way, and they can't.
Sure.
And the thing is you can get a huge yield of purple punch, and then the next grow is not as potent or way more potent, or it has a little bit of this or a little bit of that, because you're playing with nature, and it's going to do what it wants to do. And we can try to point it in directions, but CBD and cannabis or marijuana and CBD are very similar. They come from the same kind of plants. It's just about how I think people want to know what's in them. And that's the key, is that the majority of the time you're looking at 50 products and they're all the same. And how are you supposed to tell which one's different, that'll work for you, that won't work for you? So
that's why the more regulated or legal it is. You go to California, you go to now in Maryland, everything is legal. Actually, it's legal recreational in Maryland. So you go, and the people that work there,
almost.
you say, well, almost. It's not. Technically, it's not federally legal. It's the same kind of gray area that they give you, but they will say, I'm having problems sleeping. I have anxiety issues. I have this, I have that. And they can tell you, give this a try, that a try. And then if you go back and say, well, I tried that, but it didn't work, they know exactly what to change it to. And when I was in it, it was it was basically sold in volume. This is the size, these are the milligrams, and these are the prices of these vials in milligrams. And that was it. So I could see how. So how do you, what about your marketing? How are you marketing it?
We don't.
I've been to your Facebook page, but
I would imagine that markets itself.
So this is the funny thing, is that I haven't actually spent a lot of money. In all the years of owning businesses, I've spent probably maybe $8,000 in advertising.
Wow.
And that included putting up 2 billboards.
Probably spent that last month.
Yeah. So we rely on our customers. So we want people to just be wowed every day. I want them to feel like they're walking into, I don't know, they're walking into their birthday party every time they come in. We don't hey, welcome to Moe's. We don't do that. But we just treat people like they're people. Like, and we show them that we are people too. Like, I use this for this reason, and this is why I use it. Like, I use it for that reason. This is why I use it. That kind of stuff. So we haven't had to really do a lot of marketing, and we are now starting to market. We just put an ad in Indie Week. We're trying to market in places that make sense. I am not giving marketing dollars to giant corporations to blow over me. Like, I just don't feel like doing it.
Well, there's a lot of snake oil in that world. That's for sure. So what about the veterinary community?
The veterinarian community is still on the fence. They have not released the vets to be able to. So what's happening right now is that the veterinarian and the veterinarian medicine are creating CBD products that the vets can, and they're charging. There's this one product, and it's a good product. It's a good product, but $90 for 20 treats is absolutely insane.
What?
Dogs they get 1 to 3 milligrams of CBD per treat. It is so minute. You can buy a kilo of Delta of CBD for $800. A kilo of distillate, and that will make 600 million treats or whatever it is. So I don't get it.
That was Shane and I we know a few things about the vet industry, and that was right away. The reason the distributor I worked with was interested, it's because I talked about veterinarians and they want to get into the vet industry. But then you talk to the vets and they are like, boom, shut it down. They shut it. Let's stop there. But you know why they shut it down. We both know why they shut it down.
Because it'll stop all the medicine from working.
You touched on it. You touched on it right there. Anything holistic is anything holistic. There's not money in there. There's not the same kind of money in the holistic medicine.
So what do you do for an industry like this, where there's constant changing science, and there's constant changing product, and there's constant all of this? Like, what methods do you find or use to keep your staff? Like, where do you go to get educated on the latest greatest so that you can teach your staff, or is there continuing education for staff to take to be up on the newest developments and things like that, so that they can accurately advise a client, or are they just repeating something that you told them?
So actually our staff they have a drive to find out. They use these products and they want to know more about them. They want to know how they work, and they want to be educated. They know that we don't have any commissions or anything, but our sales staff loves to sell. They're not trying to sell you product. They're trying to sell you on the idea that you can be healthy without having to take all these medications.
Right.
And that you don't need to take it every day if you don't need to. And if you need to, then you might want to microdose. And like, we just talk about all that kind of stuff. There are tons. As soon as the recreational started happening, they started popping up these little like universities all over the place where you could pay money and then they teach you how to get some crazy license that really doesn't matter. But but as far as training goes with us, it's listening to the customers. Like every time they come in and tell us how it's working, how it might not be working. We do a lot of research on the companies. The companies themselves want to be purchased, so they do a lot of not nearly as much as they should. They like, if they really wanted to push this stuff and really educate people, they'd be sending a sales associate to every hemp store and talking to the staff.
Right.
The minute you know what you're actually talking about and you have that confidence and you're not afraid to say, I don't have that answer, but I can get it for you. People will buy from you.
Yep.
So, but we just educate through, we do a lot of stuff through like Marijuana Moment, Leafly. We have several, we have a hemp attorney who's one of the number one hemp attorneys in the area. He likes to send out weekly blogs, and he does a podcast similar to this, talks to people about the legalities and the fear and how to navigate all that. We have no idea what's going on in the state. Like they just keep changing everything left and right. And they're just using this, this medical bill as another way to push a different agenda. But as far as education and stuff goes, it's really my staff's drive that really wants to know. And they teach me. Like, I know about the business, and they know that. I like to focus on people's strengths instead of focusing on their weaknesses and being like, fix that. I go, grow that. Your strength, grow that. Because it will completely outgrow what your weakness is. And
you crossed over from pet to human. You're doing from pet wellness to human wellness. So what percentage of this? Yeah, pet and human. Yeah. What is it? 50-50? Is it?
No. But I wish it was. People don't realize how beneficial CBD is for pets. So we only have like maybe a 5%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So this
people
total
want it for themselves.
Big time.
Yeah. So it was a total, but we still focus on the pet stuff. So like I have a brand that's about to come out called Tail Chasers, and it's a drink, and we're focused on animals, and it
looks amazing too, by the way. I've seen it because I'm one of those industry people that gets the behind the curtain look, because we're so, just saying, just saying.
Like, look at this. What do you think about that? Anyways.
Like order me a 12-pack.
So
Tail Chasers.
Tail Chase. It's a low milligram seltzer sangria. So, and rosé. We're trying to get into that section. We also want to make a dog water that has CBD in it. Kind of situation, especially when you're out tracking with your dog. It helps with like swelling and stuff like that as they're running for their joints. That kind of stuff. But
awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know why I was talking about that.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
I remember. I'm keeping to my roots, which is animals, and animals have been my root for a lot of things. I love people too. There's people involved with animals, but I'm focusing on my roots, and we are going to be donating proceeds from every sale of the can to animal rescues and animal groups. And we're actually going to make sure that people can follow the money, because people want to know where it's going. They want to see that money go somewhere.
That's so important too. It's so important. A long time ago, I tried to donate a car to a veterans type organization. And so I was like, I called them and I was like, well, first of all, like, do they actually get the car? Like, no, they don't get the fucking car. They take it to auction, they sell it, they take their cut, and they give them the balance of the funds. And that's just it was just an old car. I mean, it was worth nothing, other than be a brand new car to somebody that didn't have a car, you know what I mean? And we were trying to, so it was like, incredibly disappointing. I mean, I was like, you don't even give them the car. They just sell it at auction. They get what they can for it. They take their cut. And I mean, they're talking about pennies on the dollar. And this was a reputable, like, veterans type organization. So like being able to track the money for people to use your product and see where those pennies went, where those dollars went, and like, and it be clear, I'm in. Sign me up for a subscription.
That's going to be the focus of our website, is to show people different places and avenues that they can use. And if we're going to have the product on there, that's fine, but the product's going to sell regardless. It's good. It's in a category that's literally bypassed craft beer sales in 1 year.
Wow.
And they're going, and that's why you got Budweiser coming on board. You have Sam Adams coming on. You have all these companies. Coke is looking for a purchase. So, and they're not going to give, like, I understand that people with a lot more money give a bigger chunk of money for donations, but are they really donating to what makes sense? Like,
right.
Is it helping? We don't know that kind of stuff. So if I'm going to donate, I kind of want to know, where does it go? Like, because when, for example, this is going to be a bad, PetSmart. PetSmart does this thing where they do donations and they tell you to get a dog toy and then donate it. So you're doing a double donation. Now, I actually came up with that idea years and years ago. And we were trying to figure out how to sell these super duper cheap Chinese toys. Doesn't matter. It just came from China. China toys that were like just stuffing, and like the dogs would tear them apart and eat them. It was like, and so we're sitting there, we're trying to figure it out. And in a meeting with a bunch of other leads, I said, well, why don't we say that they can buy the $5 item? The $5 is going towards PetSmart charities, even though only 20% of that goes to the charities. And then they can donate the toy to Toys for Tots or the Animal Rescue. And that took off. A year later, 2 years later, we were getting pallets worth of these same toys.
Wow.
We are now 20 years later. They have it as a campaign now. They campaign and market this. They sell the toy. They get the money from the toy. They donate the toy. They have to destroy them. How many shelters will take a stuffed animal and give it to a dog? None will. The dogs will swallow them. They'll be pulling none will. So they don't want them. Like, I remember the first time we approached I called the SPCA in Garner and said, hey, we have like 500 toys we want to donate. They're like, we don't take anything stuffy. And I was like, oh, they're all stuffies. And so we tried to give them to Toys for Tots, and the Toys for Tots took them the first 2 years and donated them, but they never stopped. They are still running this campaign, even though they're not giving away those toys. They're in the trash somewhere or in a facility somewhere gathering dust. And they make billions off of that. And they've made billions off of that. And it sucks, because you think I had this idea that I was wholesome. Hey, we're going to donate to dogs and we're going to donate to kids. And the company has turned it into this like ad campaign that they run every year at Christmas, and they sell millions of dollars of these stuffy toys.
Right.
Plastic trash.
Wow.
You
That's
think
wild.
That's what happens. It's so sad. It's so sad. But
so you have more,
go ahead.
Yeah, more in the works then. More locations of the same business, or what's next?
So right now I'm focused. The store is focused on just letting it run a little bit. We have opened a new store every year for the last 5 years, and we've had a lot of like trying things out that didn't work, and some things that we tried out that did work. So right now, which the staff is bored, and I love it. I love that they're bored, because everything's running like very well, and everybody's doing really well. We don't really know what plans we're going to have, because this drink company is going to be a completely different beast, and it gives us the opportunity to reach every state and try to get people's minds focused on have fun and help. So the actual tagline is chase the flavor, join the cause. So, and we have a lot of causes to follow, like, saving pets, training your pets, saving hemp.
Yeah. Well, what would you say is your biggest but in your career, and like you did it or you didn't do it because or but, and what do you think? What was your ultimate solve? Like, where do you feel like your biggest but came, and what did you do about it?
Do you mean my biggest obstacle that I did not overcome?
Or there's that. It could be anything. It's anything that, we're on the Butt Fixer podcast. So, it's everything after the butt.
So, I wish I would have known not to hire family.
Okay.
I love my family, and they are awesome, and they all do great jobs. Family doesn't work out as business helpers, it just, so we were doing great, but I hired family. And
Right.
that destroyed more personal relationships, which are, coming back together. But like, it's really difficult for people to separate business and family.
Yeah.
I are a victim of that myself.
You won't do it. You won't do it again, though.
Never. And I give everybody that advice. Every person that walks up to me, they're like, what's the 2 words of advice? Don't ever get in business with family, and don't take no for an answer. That's all it is.
Done.
Just, if that person says no, find someone that says yes. So, another but is I wish I would have gotten into the drink industry the year I said I was going to, which was 5 years ago, because it is exploding, and when you're supposed to do something, but you're just too scared to do it because it's something you don't know how to do. Like, I've never been in production or distribution. I know everything after it gets to the store. Well, till it gets to the distribution center.
Right.
And I don't know anything after that. And that really hindered my ability to grow this company a little faster with that extra income. So, but I'm in it now.
You know now? Now you know.
But now you know.
But now I know. And now I know I have to go with a different, and I think it's probably a good thing that I waited, because now I've seen what people have come out with, and it's like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, I will tell you, I've got a similar product in my fridge at the moment that is
Sultan. So that's a local company. So you're good to.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I am a gigantic fan of that company. It's like having to relearn how to
party.
Yeah, because I can tell you right now, if you party too fast with one of them Zoltans, you're gonna be cross-eyed. I think my ass started eating the couch the other day. I was in it for so long I could not move, But no, I think the product itself is going to be amazing, and it's definitely in the right vein of what you do, and it's so I can't believe that I could go to a local shop and get something like that and feel that good. Like just the relaxation, the blow off the steam at the end of the day. It's not drinking a bottle of liquor or a case of beer or this. I mean, we're talking about 15 calories, 1 can, sip, 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 just keep the lips wet, enjoy yourself, cook on the grill, and sleep like a fat baby. I mean, come on. What's up with it? I mean, what's better than that?
The food will taste amazing. You'll be like,
I know.
This is the best food I've ever had, man. And
exactly. Yeah.
So the drinks are really interesting because they give a new element of health to this whole category, because everybody thinks cannabis and CBD. They think gummies or smoking.
Yeah.
The gummies are good, but they have to put sugar in them. They have to.
Right.
It would taste like you'd be eating, like biting a tree, right after cat peed on it, So, it just, hemp gives a tree flavor, it's giving hemp. So, but the drinks are really awesome because they actually activate through the capillaries in your mouth, similar to a tincture, which is the best way to microdose and take CBD is through tincture. It lasts longer, that kind of stuff. But it also is also absorbed through your liver. So you're getting it on both ends. You're getting capillaries in your mouth, and then you're getting your liver through your bloodstream. And that makes them more effective with not as many milligrams. There's barely any sugar in there. They're mostly bubblies or something. What do you call them?
Yep. Those seltzers. Yeah. That's what I've got as a seltzer.
Taste good. And you get anything from 3 milligrams all the way up to 100.
Yeah, 30 is enough.
Perfect.
That's
insane. For me too.
30 is enough. That's enough. That is. I can't imagine if. Just drink slow.
Just enjoy yourself. The one thing I love about the drinks is, like, there's a lot of people like me who like, I would never drink until the pandemic, but I started drinking during the pandemic. I was bored.
Right.
We were all stuck.
Yeah.
And it really the alcoholism is a true thing. And just in a very short months, I was completely addicted and having to drink. I was drinking every day, and that was like, whoa, I don't want to do that. So I quit drinking, and I did keep partaking. I started partaking more in cannabis or hemp and stuff like that to help get me through my anxious times. And I feel like I lost so many friends and so much family when I quit drinking, because that's what we had. We gathered and drank. And then now that I gather, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable here. So, but now that I have the drinks, I can walk in, I can be holding a drink, and everybody's like, oh, it's a CBD drink. And it's like completely different. I and I have so many people, friends and family now, quitting drinking completely and going on to, because you can have one can of Zoltan, one can for your whole day and be great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the best thing. And even there's the ones like
cans.
Oh yeah, and like what to what you're talking about, like the 5 milligrams, those lower doses. I mean, that's just daily operating.
Yep.
Right. That's just maintaining. It's such a wonderful feeling. It's just a tickle, right? You're not unable to function. You don't lose your place. You can, and every now and again you just giggle for no reason. It's the best. It's the best. I think I can't wait to, because I'm going to replace everything in my fridge with yours. So
I hope so. So we'll have three flavors coming out. Hopefully in the next 7 weeks. We're really focused on getting the best products. So we're working with companies like flavor houses like Sovereign. They're the top. And then there's some distillate companies that are run by chemists, which are great because then they really are breaking down, because chemists they have to know everything, and they just break down everything, which is really nice. So the product is going to come out really well. We want it to be, safe, fun, and effective for everybody, but also to help with the cause, which is people's anxiety and also helping animals. So
that's right.
That's a wild ride, man. From dogs, mowing lawns to now you're developing your own product, your own drink. That's pretty cool. Pretty awesome.
That's amazing.
But animals have always been there for me, and I'm going to keep focusing on them. So
awesome. That's fantastic. Well, why don't you give us go ahead, John. Sorry about that, bud.
No, go ahead. I mean, I'm saying it's getting to be the time to wind it. So I don't want to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If you got anything that you'd like anything you want to promote, your links, how do people find you, and then maybe an inspirational quote if you have one to close us out.
It's pretty.
One more, because you've given me a few nuggets. That's for sure. I
know, right? What you got? What you go to?
My inspirational thing is the cheap comes out expensive.
There you go.
I tell that to everybody. They're like, well, I got it for the cheapest price. I'm like, you sure you did?
Yeah.
Anyways, so everybody can find Nature's Relief. We have 5 locations in Raleigh, Smithfield, Garner, Morrisville, and 2 in Raleigh, actually, 1 on Western and 1 off of Glenwood. Our website is www.naturesrelief, that's my email, www.naturesreliefhempstore.com. And relief is spelled RELEAF, like the leaf.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll pop it into the description too on the
we'll cool. Put a link here in the show. And
and then Tail Chasers doesn't have a website yet. We're in developing right now. So I can't give you that yet.
Gotcha.
But if they just go to Nature's Relief, we have a bunch of stuff. We're on YouTube. They can actually have a tour of one of the stores with me.
Oh, cool. All right.
My hair's way oranger though, so.
Awesome.
Mine used to be too.
I'm just
Now my printer's running out of ink.
I haven't heard that one before. That's pretty good.
Neither have I. That's a new one. My biggest thing for people out there is just, go for what you want to go for. It's better off to try and fail than never to try it at all, because you're going to find out that you can actually succeed at things that you may change your full perspective of what you want to do. Like you may get into a situation, you're like, I'm going to open this. And then in 10 years down the road, you're opening something completely different. So
imagine the fear being gone. Like once you've done it, and you've got that it's like another little extra superpower within yourself where you go, you know what? I can do this, and I'm gonna do this. Like if it doesn't work out, you find out it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be.
Exactly,
I did learn something.
Yeah, and I might do this again sometime, but with something different. So fake it till you make it, man.
The ego repairs itself much quicker down the road after you've there's nothing's you said it enough. You said enough.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a ton. We're still getting this. We're still getting this off the ground ourselves. So thank you for taking the time to do it last minute and that kind of thing.
You're very welcome.
Of course, we love animals and dogs too, but I didn't want it to be 100% dog centric.
Oh yeah.
There's 101 million. Here's how you train your dog. So I wanted to. And this fit right in there. So I really appreciate. We really appreciate it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to say something about CBD and dogs, though. I hope you guys get it on the thing.
Okay.
Of course.
It's not going to change your dog's behavior. It's only going to help things that are underlining that you don't know about. Like dogs don't tell you that they're hurt and they're hurting a lot of the time. So you have to utilize dog training and, education 100% to help set your dog's behavior. You cannot just think that pill's going to do it.
No, there's
no
magic.
Neither CBD.
There's no magic pill. It's like it might help you make your dog a little more receptive to the training that you're trying to give it.
Exactly.
That's what we.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Multimodal.
Multimodal. That's it. So
yeah, it's almost like a leash.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're very welcome.
Jennifer,
thank you guys.
So again, we get Jennifer with Nature's Relief. Make sure you go to their website, buy some products, tell her you heard about her here on this podcast. John, always a pleasure getting on and getting a chance to speak with you. And we're closing it up with, as always,
long distance. We got I would say 18,000 miles. We got covered here between the three of us right now. It's pretty cool. So, all right. Well,
I
thank you
always
so
like
much.
to leave it out with be the person that your dog thinks you are.
Oh, for sure.
All right.
Y'all be cool.
Adios. Thank you.
Later.
Yeah.